making steps locally or for their own business to not have to, because they don't want to have to comply with all the. Mm-hmm. So I am very curious to see how that rolls out and what the implications are with that.
I don't know if you'll see that side of it as much as maybe a business thinking twice and rerunning again and again their numbers if they're looking to expand.
Yeah.
And this idea of, well, we're doing well, I want to expand from 1 to 2 locations.
But geez, do I want to take on...
Those numbers used to be X. Now they're going to be...
X plus Y.
X plus Y. And a lot of people initially felt that, well, it's modeled predominantly after what we had done in
Massachusetts.
06, and the idea of taking our model and just kind of developing it on a national level. But we're finding more and more parts that don't exactly mesh up, and there's still going to be some significant changes here in Massachusetts for what we already have, and there's some real fears in a number of different circles that while we're at, I want to say the number is like 98% coverage. I mean, we have such a phenomenal coverage rate here.
Is this going to hurt that?
There's extreme fears that's actually going to slide in the opposite direction. After being the pioneering state to put this into effect, dealing with the headaches we dealt with initially, tweaking the system to overcome some of those headaches, getting to a point where there's 98% coverage. And again, whether I'm not getting
employers for one way or another have figured out how to live with the Massachusetts.
Right. But we've accepted this system to an extent, and I'm not trying to say the system's right or wrong, good or bad, socialist or not.
But it's shaken out already
here
in Massachusetts.
The idea was to increase coverage, and now we're looking at something that might roll us back.
Especially nationwide in that regard, because any insurance policy...
Well, think about in 2006, there was a big adjustment. In Massachusetts, so that's what the country's going through, only on probably a larger...
But any insurance company needs to rely on those customers that need health care, like folks my age and getting up there, versus those that should be part of the system, have to pay, and really don't need it. And I know...
But that's the sticking point, right?
I know as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old... when I remember one day someone trying to sell me life insurance at 22. Hey, at 22, I'm living forever, and at 22, I'm going to be healthy forever. And those may be the individuals that may not buy into it, which will create some problems with the system.
And, of course, for the insurance companies, that's the selling point is you're going to have to take on people with pre-existing conditions, but in order to even out the market, we're going to require it for everybody, including the healthy young people that are out there. So they're going to be paying in for a system they're probably not going to use very often, and that's going to cover the cost of the people that have significant health issues that are now going to have access to it. I do think it's curious, though, that, I mean, of industrial nations, we actually pay about twice as much as most other countries in healthcare costs. Twice as much. And there's not just countries with single payer. There's also companies like Germany that very much have a mixed approach with public and free market. So
to that level.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of people's bigger concerns is the cost of healthcare. The Commonwealth put into effect, I think it took effect this fall, right around now.
Yeah.
There's a transparency legislation that over time is going to require all of these providers to list on their website so that you and I can find their real costs of knee surgery, heart transplant, heart surgery, lung surgery, so that as the consumer, the hope is you now start to look and say, okay,
I'm going to be honest though, if my kid needs a lung transplant, God forbid, I'm not saying, oh geez, I'll save $1,500 if I go here versus, I'm going to say,
the idea is
I do want to know who's
pairing
the best.
quality and then price. Let's say Dr. Z and D are equal quality, but Dr. Z charges $5,000 less. Well, if I have a $2,000 deductible, I'm still looking at that as part of my outlay as opposed to, what.
No, and certainly some procedures more than others. I think if you're talking about maybe going for an MRI, right, you probably be more likely to shop around.
We've got to recognize at some level, like assuming equal quality of service and care.
Yeah.
Then the next step, because I agree with you, if my kid has, I don't care in a way what it costs, I want my kid to get better. Okay, I have 2 qualified doctors, equally qualified, equal
Yeah.
on every level. You charge 10 grand, he charges 3. And I have a $5,000 deductible. If it's the same level and quality of service,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go.
Well, and that's going to be interesting to see if you can get at those outcomes. Yeah, can you
drive the market?
And I know we're also trying, and one of the things that's of concern to kind of everybody in the healthcare world is the reimbursement rates and how we're processing that. And I know in Massachusetts, there is a kind of a launch of patient-centered care, and not necessarily about fee for service per se, but more around wellness prevention and a holistic approach. And so it'd be interesting to see how that
This will be an ongoing discussion.
Let's hope so. Let's hope we're all continue to be healthy enough to have the discussion, right? Well, I just think, I do think it's interesting. I mean, and like I said, you got people kind of out there saying this is a socialist program. I don't understand what aspect of it in the least is socialist. Can you tell me that?
It becomes.
Does anyone have an answer for that?
That's an irrational
argument,
definitely.
I agree. And I agree there's some legitimate questions that need to maybe be answered and looked at. It's that argument that around this is a march towards socialism. Well, we have an automobile industry, right? Does anyone feel that the automobile industry in the U.S. is socialist? Is there? Because, I mean, but there's regulations around what an automobile maker can do and can't do with the product that they're making and selling, right?
Certainly.
So, I don't think regulating an industry is necessarily making it a socialist industry.
I think, and this is just my personal thought.
This is Stu talking. Yeah, this is a portion of Stu coming at you, folks.
But I think anytime government gets involved in something to the level that they're getting involved in the health insurance industry, people's fears are that socialist side of things. And I'm not going to sit here and discuss whether it's valid or invalid claim. That's not for me to do, but I would hope people could at least get past that and start talking about the implementation and the actual effects of it.
Yeah.
And again, the cost of it. And some of that comes back to what I was talking about, the transparency. And one of the analogies I've heard, healthcare is the only industry where we don't shop around price-wise. Do you walk onto a car lot and say, I want a car, and just put your hand out and wait for keys and a bill?
I don't. However, it's one of the only industries where if you don't buy it, you're dead. So when I go on to if I needed to have a car, in 10 minutes or I would be dead, I would certainly take that approach, right? I would go onto the lot and say, hey, if I don't have a car in 10 minutes, I'm dead. Give me a car. I would not be arguing over certain aspects of that car, right? So if you're having a heart attack, are you really going to be saying to the ambulance driver, whoa, let's slow down here. Let's look at where we're going. I will tell you this. A good friend of mine had a parent who unfortunately had a heart attack, and the insurance company, not government, not big bad government, the insurance company made that ambulance go to hospital A knowing that they don't have the resources, so they had to go and check in there and get the referral before they could life flight that person out to the bigger hospital that had the resource. Now, it was a health insurance mandate from the company, not from the government. And that's where I'm kind of like, man, the expectation, I think healthcare is a unique market from the standpoint as you do have life or death. Now, when you're going for your MRI and you have 3 months to plan for it, I'm totally with you.
Thank you. You were getting a little into hyperbole going with immediate, that's where every health decision is life or death.
I agree. There's probably most health decisions that you do have some time, and transparency would be a much valuable thing to kind of add to the system. But the other thing curious about health, or an additional thing with health insurance is I don't know many other industries that providers are mandated to give you the service. So in other words, let's go back to that car lot analogy. If you're at an emergency unit, someone walks into the lot and says, I need a car, they're mandated to give the keys to a car. And I don't know many industries that have that requirement, right? So from that perspective, I think it's a unique thing. And unfortunately, right now the current system, I feel, puts me at a disadvantage for someone with insurance because, we had a situation where I had to bring my girl in for services late at night, and we had to go to the emergency room, and I'm stuck behind people that don't have health insurance that are going there because they have sniffles. And I'm thinking to myself, isn't there a better way to get them a more appropriate level of care? It's the most expensive care you can have is through an emergency room, and then B, it clogs up the system for true emergencies, right? So, but they're mandated to not turn the folks away regardless of their ability to pay.
Yep.
But again, those are some of the aims of what, at least in Massachusetts, we were trying to do in
Yeah.
getting people off of kind of an uninsured care pool and into
Into
a
an
coverage
insured where
system.
now you have insurance, you can go, you can.
But some of that is also just branding and coming back to kind of your point earlier about ACA with certain things and then the Obamacare with others. I mean, marketing your brand isn't just
Yeah.
for Shaquille and LeBron. It's for government, and it's for the idea of getting a message out there that if you're sick and you have health coverage, you don't just go to the emergency room. You
Right.
call your doctor. You go see your doctor. There's a certain way of
dealing with an appropriate, yeah.
of doing it. I mean, now don't get me wrong, 2:30 in the morning, your kid wakes up coughing, sneezing, bleeding.
Yeah, you're
The emergency room is your appropriate avenue.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm a rational adult, I wake up this morning, I have the sniffles, I shouldn't be going to the emergency room. I should be calling my doctor.
And certainly get back to Dr. Z's, Dr. Bob Z's point here. It's an ongoing discussion, and it will be, from a workforce perspective, it'll be interesting to see how it rolls out and whether it does affect the nature of employment, the number of jobs that are available, the types of jobs, full-time, part-time, and all that.
And I'm sure every employer has a part of its mind daily on healthcare, providing healthcare for their employees, and the costs.
For most businesses, it's number 2 on their expense sheet. Salary is first, and then the cost of healthcare for most businesses is the second largest item that they deal with in putting their budget together.
Well, more to come on this important,
Good discussion.
on this important
Thanks.
topic. So, well, Stuart Loosemore from Worcester Chamber of Commerce, thank you for being with us
Happy to
and,
be here,
and
Jeff.
sharing your thoughts on all this stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank
So, Dr. Z, do we have another break coming up here?
Another break. I think we're going to forego the other break because we're
gonna go
down
right
to
into
the
it, or just about?
closing. We're down to the closing minutes here. So, and we haven't heard from
We have not heard much from
Sean today.
Sean today.
Helping us, Stu's just taking over for MCG over here.
Can we?
I don't even get a microphone.
We don't even have a microphone. Come on over.
All right. And Sean,
It was an easy show for me today.
With-
I know.
with eyes on the
Eyes on the
clock.
clock. We'll just do a quick mail. As the listeners know, you can send in your questions, your job-related questions, to our email, and every month we reach into the mailbox and pull one out. And this month we have one from Amanda from Northborough, and Amanda writes, "I use Monster.com for my online job search, but just can't help but think I might be missing out on other job sites. Can you name some?" So I talked to the staff upstairs at the Career Center. Again, we have career centers in Worcester, Milford, and Southbridge, and they pointed me to their website, workforcecentralma.org, and on their job seeker panel they have a list of, looks like there's over 30 of them here, and they also said that the number 1 is JobQuest, which Workforce Central has business service representatives that work with local businesses to post jobs. So that's going to be your best
Plus
bet.
on JobQuest, it's actually affiliated with the Conference Board's Help Wanted Online system.
Okay.
So it actually pulls from Monster, Indeed, all the big sites, probably most of those 30, if not all of them, as well as company sites directly. Compares the job listings to make sure to try to weed out the duplicates, and then collates them into the JobQuest job board. So I believe now for Massachusetts alone, it's got well over 100,000 job postings.
Wow.
So it's billed as the most comprehensive. The Conference Board that is the company that Massachusetts has purchases the licensing for that technology with. Is actually one of the industry leaders in that, nationally. So
So I would, I would say take a look at JobQuest, and then on the website there's a number of niche ones, like that might have to do
Right.
with health, like specifically around healthcare or high tech or whatever. So,
Yep.
to compare that. But I wouldn't be surprised if most of the jobs that you're seeing in other places are already listed on JobQuest.
Yeah, so thanks again, Amanda, and I hope that answers your question.
Yes, good luck to you, Amanda, with your job search.
In the background, they hear the closing.
Where's my olives? Well, thank you again. I want to thanks to Luce Moore from the Chamber being here, as well as Paul Linsky from the Blackstone Valley Education Foundation. I want to thank my co-host Sean McGauley, Bob Zakowski, and the folks at Worcester Cable Services for again taping the show to tape delay to viewers. So, thank you all, and we will talk to you next month.
Yeah, it'll be our turkey program.
Gobble, gobble.
Thanksgiving Day. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Halloween, everyone.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.